Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to take you on a journey through this job that took me several weeks to complete. It's a renovation in a home with there's several staircases, 4 in fact, all needing railings, several needing balustrades, one set of refinished stairs with oak treads and oak plywood risers, balcony rails, intricate joinery and joints and all sorts of complications. One of the bigger jobs I've done in a long time. And I'm just going to show you the whole video and realize that even if it takes 30 minutes for me to do that, understand that this took many weeks. In fact, if you want to take a crack at how many weeks it took me or how many hours it took me to complete this job, leave a comment for me. Also, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll link a whole bunch of videos that are related to this job in the description. And once again, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy the video. I certainly enjoyed this job, and one of the key factors of this job being successful and being enjoyable was wonderful customers. So I want to thank the Smith family, no relation, on the outskirts of Thunder Bay, Ontario, where I live, for being such wonderful hosts and really appreciated my work and were patient and give me a few real nice pieces of pie. Anyway, enjoy the video and we'll see you at the end. Oops. Okay, laser level is still on our reference mark right here. And we'll mark, this will be our half newel. I'll just mark that here. Okay, and you can swing over to that post. All right, so this is the main entrance to the home. You can see there's a ground level landing and a set of stairs going up to the living space, and then a set of stairs going down to the basement. Good. So in this space there was only about 16 linear feet of balustrade, and yet there was 4 posts and 2 half newels. Ended up I needed 2 59-inch posts, one for the bottom of the stairs and one for the lap post onto the landing, but it was quite an interesting project. All right, so what I've done is I've marked the story poles really clearly so there's no mix-ups. I don't know how I would have done this without using story poles. So this is the corner that will be about 1 1/8 inches different than that half newel over there. And that's just the reality, as you know, when you're working on a home, especially a home where there's been an addition, and even sometimes in newer homes you can run into these situations. So whenever you're doing a balcony rail on a laminate or floating floor, there's some special considerations to take into account so that your flooring will have the ability to expand and contract with seasonal changes. So check out my specific video on that process. So as I have mentioned already, there was 4 newel posts at the front entrance and 2 half newels. The back entrance were 2 more newel posts, a rosette, and a different kind of termination on the bottom of a staircase. So this job was really interesting in that there was 5 different methods of newel post installation. And I'm just going to go and show you all those different techniques here. And again, for more specific information on each method of installing a newel post, I have specific videos for that. Now the first method I'm going to show you is the lapped newel post, which doesn't happen too often. This one here is going to be lapped over top of the balcony, and that's necessary to line up with the stair stringer. And although it's not technically a difficult newel post install, it's worthwhile to show you just how it's done. So these 3/4 inch Forstner bit holes will be filled with a plug later, and they're virtually invisible if you do them properly. So I'm putting a 3/4 radius roundover on the bottom of this post because it hangs over the stairwell, and you could technically catch your clothing or something on the way down the stairs. And I'm doing 3 different passes on this 3/4 roundover, and that prevents tear out and excessive burning. Alright, so the next newel post install I'm going to show you is centering the post at the bottom of the stairs, centered on the stringer. So generally speaking, the center of your stringer is always the center of your balustrade going down the rake of the stairs. I've got 2 other videos specific to this process. It is one of the more complicated newel post installs, but those videos will cover it nicely and show you exactly the steps sort of in more detail. I've been using an adhesive called Bostik flooring adhesive. It's basically designed for hardwood floors, and I've used that for years, and it's just my go-to adhesive for newel post installs. But I'm not sure I'm going to be able to find it, the business that carried it closed their doors. So if you have a recommendation on a good construction adhesive that you've used for this, leave me a comment. All right, so this is where that third post is going to go, just like that, so that they're all in line. This next post install, I'm using the Zipbolt Super UT. Now this would be the rod that I use on the majority of all my balcony posts. I've got a couple of different videos showing that process, and I'll put a link to one of those videos here. So I'm just rebating the bottom of the post so that it can accept the laminate floor and allow for expansion. And you'll see at the end of this segment how that is going to work out. One of the big benefits of the zip bolt system is that I can dry fit my connections, take them apart, make some adjustments, and then reinstall with glue. Really hard to do with other systems. So what I'm doing here is I'm making sure that those 2 posts are square to each other so there can be a child gate installed between the 2 posts. So here is a bird's eye view on how that rebate works for the laminate. And you can do it on 1, 2, or even 3 sides of the post. And whenever possible, I like to put these fittings in the posts on the workbench rather than when they're standing up. Much easier. All right, so I'm going to use this product right here, Slip Fix Railbolt, and I'm going to put one of these fittings right here on each post that receives a railing. And I will put a link here to a video with complete instructions on how to do these Slip Fix fittings. But for the time being, I'll just walk you through it, and just in footage without a lot of explanation. And I've just taken a chunk of railing that I'm going to be using, and I'll use that to mark where my fitting goes, which is going to be 1.25 inches up from the bottom of the railing on the post. I also brand at least one post on every job. So the other thing I'm going to do that's a little bit different is I don't want to disrupt this rug in order to cut into the stair tread and cut this stair stringer back like I've done a number of times. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a mortise in this post so I can slide this post over the end of this stringer roughly up to where this rug starts. And that will give me a really solid connection. Then I'm going to, as usual, I'm going to put some lag screws through the front, and I also have the option of putting a screw through this side into this stair stringer. So that's the plan. So what I'm doing here is I'm making a little mortise in the bottom of a practice newel post. I'm going to square off these corners with a chisel. I'm actually going to make it about another 1/4 inch deeper. I want it to recess about 3/4 of an inch. And what I did was I made this little jig in the shop. And basically all I did was I took a piece of melamine that is the width of the stringer and with maybe 1/2 mil spare, so it's not super tight. And then I just glued up this jig like so, and screw it into the bottom, hold it on with clamps. Then I ran through with a shorter template bit. This is actually a hinge bit, and so it's a 1/16 smaller than the bearing. So I don't have a smaller template bit that is a flush trim, so I need to buy one of those. And then I followed up with a deeper bit in the Festool 1010. Had a little bit more power than this little trim router, which I really like. So now I'm going to make an adjustment and go another 1/4 inch deeper on this mortise, square it off, and then try it on the stringer and see how it works. Oh, very nice. Very nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to square off this portion of the stringer right here, this little corner, and then the actual post that's going to live here will be mortised and will fit right down into that notch. Should be a really secure connection. Now, in comparison with all the other newel posts I've done on this job, this one here is the simplest by far. And in fact, maybe the simplest post I've ever installed. We've got a concrete floor with rug on top of it. We've got in-floor heating, so there's no question I can't go into the floor. All I can do here is remove the drywall from the outside of this stringer. It's all finished with drywall, and I've done that, and I'm going to lag and glue the post to the stringer and just, you know, hope that the stair stringer will hold for long term. It looks like a really good solid set of stairs, brand new, so I really have no choice but to attach it this way. I can't even cut into the rug and put it down to the floor because it's a jute-backed carpet with underlay and all that kind of thing. So I've got it perfectly plumb. I've also, first post ever that I've not had to cut. This is a 47-inch post, and it is exactly the same height. 36 inches above the rake, comes about here, exactly about 2.5 or maybe 2 5/8 below the top of the post. And the top rail will terminate into the underside of that staircase there. So I'll just take my Forstner bit, 3/4 Forstner bit, put a hole up here, and then a hole down at the bottom. And that's a plywood stringer, so it's not going to split. And that should be good to go. So again, I have a video specific to staining and clear coating railing components, but just briefly, I make sure I sand off all the machining marks. Then I give the components at least 2 coats of stain, 2 to 3 coats of clear coat in the shop, and then 1 clear coat after installation. Yeah, so I'm trying something different here. I've got the railing screwed to an 8x8 piece of melamine on both ends. And that means I can rotate the railing really easy to get at different sides, and I can even sand on it. There's enough support here. And plus, when it's all completely done, I can take it to the job site, and this will just sit on the bottom of my trailer, and it's all protected. So as a general practice, I always install my newel posts raw, wherever possible, and then stain them in place, clear coat them, and then all the railings and other components are done in the shop. And for example, this post here and the one at the bottom of the stairs, there's rug involved, so I'm going to stain them ahead of time and then permanently install them after. Let me know when you want me to, if you want me to tail it or what have you. That's a big fish. Ooh. Want me to tail it?
Sure, yeah.
Here's a little hack for those slip fix Railbolt drilling procedure. I've got a little block of wood here. It's 1.5 inches this way. That's where the center of your inch hole goes into the bottom of the railing, and then 1 inch deep is where you drill your 3/8 hole for the shaft that goes into the end of the railing. So anytime you have a balcony nosing that hangs over the edge of the balcony, it's going to take some extra time to do nice little return miters like this and get it fitted just so it looks really good. So make sure you don't underestimate how much work goes into this process. So this job involved 1/2-inch metal balusters and 1/2-inch oak fillets for all the railings. You can let me know if this is something that's popular in your area or if you use a different technique. Here I am just putting a little plug in that zip bolt hole, and with a little bit of stain pen it'll look just 100% when it's all done. So this is the Lamelo Invis invisible joiner in action. And what it does is enables you to join two pieces of railing without any visible fasteners. I've been using this for, I'm going to say 5 to 8 years now, and man, it's just a really nice way to do handrails and any other joint where you don't want to have visible joiners. On most handrail joints, I like to combine the Lamelo Invis with an 8mm domino with the Domino XL machine.
Where'd it go? Sorry, there it is. Okay.
Cool, eh?
Okay.
So that's what I do.
Oh.
Just hot glued to the wood. Yeah. Try it. Bob's your uncle. There you go.
There you go.
So this little clear plastic box on the end of my drill contains the magnet that spins and tightens that fastener inside the railing. All right. So we've got the glue on. We'll go up there. I'll stay down here. But you got the hole drilled to find the hole automatically, eh? Yeah. All right, so that screw works really nice right inside that groove where the fillet goes. Good. There we go. Hello, are you going to play peekaboo? Peekaboo. There you are. There you are. One of the challenges of this whole job was the scissored staircase, and that's why I left it to the end. It's a little bit complicated to do one balustrade on top of another. I've got a full video on how to do that, and I know you might be getting tired of me suggesting you watch videos, but I do have quite a number of really detailed videos on stairs and railing building. So check them out and let me know if there's anything I can improve or anything I can learn from you. Well, so much for the great nosing job I did. The nosing had to be held with trim screws to the edge of the floor here because the floor had a real concave portion on it where the stairs meet. And in the process of securing this nosing, it's cracked. You can see it cracked right here, right in that area. So I don't want to risk leaving it that way. So what I've done is I've redone this altogether, and I'll just show you what I've done. It might be an option for you. So what I've done is I've taken another piece of nosing, I've scribed it to match the curvature of the floor structure, did the same little recess here for the stringer cap, and then I've attached it to a piece of OSB, and that'll be glued and screwed together, and I'll just swing that right in here like so, screw that to the structure, and then I'll glue on a finished piece of oak for my finished riser. So that is definitely an option. The other issue that's going on here is that the nosing is only an inch thick, and I've got about, well, at least an inch of plywood here. I've got 1/4 inch underlay and then a 5/8 flooring plywood. So in essence, I'm just going into plywood, and the domino, when I drove it in, was actually lifting the laminate floor. So I thought I'd make you aware of that. This might be the better option. And I can screw this and glue it right to the existing stairs, and then put a finished riser on top here. All right, so I have all the risers and treads dry fit. I cut them yesterday using the Collins tread gauge, and this piece of veneer will slide up to the top of the nosing. All the rest are going to be a 1/2 inch oak plywood. And I used a marking knife and got really good results. Here I've made a little template out of MDF, and that's what's necessary to cut this last tread so that it goes around the post. It's kind of tricky to do it without a template, and I just used CA glue to glue that up. And one of the things that I kind of overlooked is I have a little bit of an overhang on this stringer cap, which caused me a little bit of grief getting the treads out after I dry fit them. But this one here may have to do some sanding on this stringer cap, or wrestle with it a little bit to get it in. But I've done videos on that before, so I will just skip all the details on that process, and I'll just cut up this last tread and fit it into place. This is a product that's similar to frog tape, same idea, so it won't take the finish off. I'll just lay this template on top here and mark my lines with a marking knife. And I gotta say to you that the marking knife makes a huge difference in your end product. It's so accurate. All right, so I've got the blade lined up on my line that I made with my marking knife, and it looks really good. And I've got my saw set on about 2 degrees, and that way I can plane that edge a little bit with a hand plane if it's not fitting quite right. So it's a big advantage when you're doing this kind of work. Now, no matter what jigsaw you use, it always seems to be a bit of a cant to the cut. So I'm going to use some 60 grit sandpaper and try and square that off. Okay, so I'll just go like this. Slide it down. All right, easier said than done. Well, what do you know? Looks good. Now this is going to slide forward like that, and that's where it's going to live. Well, mark that down. First time I've done that. So any place where I have a little wee gap, I'm just going to use that clear caulking and clean it up a bit. And then that way it protects from dirt and stuff getting in that crack anyway. So, great. Yeah, that looks good.
That's great.
All right, excellent. All right, now you have to stand on it while I'm downstairs. What I'll do is I'll put like a couple screws in, and then you could come down.
Okay.
Because it won't move after that.
Okay.
So I'm on the second step up, right?
Second one up. Yep.
Good. Some mood music going.
It's like last piece going on, celebratory music.
I don't like your soundtrack, you'll say. Beauty. It'll look good from the road. You'll have to vacuum these lots. See a little spot there, I don't know what that is. Good.
We need a big smile, a thumbs up.
That was fun. Thank you very much for all your help. There we go. Bob's your uncle. And one of the things that is so always in the back of your mind when you're doing a job like this that takes weeks and weeks to complete is that towards the end, there's a tendency to feel self-conscious about how long it's taking, and you got to get moving and you got to get wrapped up. And one of the things you can do that's a mistake is not paying attention to detail at the very end and overlooking, you know, things like putty going into nail holes and trim that needs to be done just right. And those are the things that will really take away from a job that's overall is done really well. But if you don't spend time at the very end and do those little touch-ups, yeah, you're only cheating yourself and your customer. So one of the things I learned from watching a friend of mine, Andy Rawls, is that he goes through and explains how long things take, especially on his Patreon channel. And you get an understanding of what it takes to build fine furniture. Balustrade building and stair building is not quite fine furniture, but it's close. And you just have to be patient, and you have to realize that when you're watching YouTube videos, things that look like they've taken 20 minutes often have taken months of a craftsman that's really got to take his or her time making sure every little detail and every little fitting, every little door handle, whatever the case may be, hinges on cabinets, connections on railing systems, if they're not perfect, you got to redo them. So you might as well start right and finish right, and that's really important. Take care. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video. Leave a comment. That really helps my channel and does something to the algorithm so that I can continue doing these videos. And I really appreciate the comments and the encouragement. And also share with a friend that does this kind of work or that would appreciate this kind of work. And we'll see you on the next video.